Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe.
Hi, if you're searching YouTube or the internet and you've come across this video while you're looking for solutions to make the audio sound better when you're recording videos for YouTube using your DSLR, then hopefully you've come to the right place. So if at the moment your audio sounds like this, you'd rather it sounded like this, where we've got rid of a lot of the ambient noise, a lot of the echo, a lot of the room sound, and things tend to sound a little bit more professional, then hopefully over the next half an hour or so I'll show you the way that you can do it on a real budget. Right, let's roll the titles. So if you're here, it's probably because you're trying to figure out how to improve the audio quality of the video that you're taking with the DSLR. Probably doing videos just like this, headshots kind of thing to YouTube. Maybe you're doing tutorials, maybe you're doing reviews, that sort of thing. Real common way of sort of presenting things. Really kind of quite a simple way, but very, very effective. And now we have these wonderful DSLRs that we can have for very reasonable prices, like the Canon 600D that I'm using right here now. You kind of eventually you probably come to a point where you think actually the audio isn't very good on the internal mics that on your camera, and maybe you've been watching lots of videos and you've kind of got this need to improve the quality. You've probably been watching dozens of videos with people giving you lots of ideas on how you can improve the quality of the sound you record. You've probably seen and heard shotgun mics, lav mics, studio mics, mics on booms, audio recorders, and of course, you know, the built-in mics on our camera. You've probably also had enough by now, trying to decide which is the best, how much money you need to spend, and how you're actually going to do it. Because when you start thinking about how you can get better audio, it can be a real rat hole that really draws you in. It makes you listen to every pop and whistle and hum on what you're recording. And it really makes you start to question what you're doing, how you're doing it, and the equipment you're using too. But what I'm going to show in this video, hopefully, is what you need to create audio that's good enough for YouTube videos. It won't be amazing audio, it's not broadcast audio, it's probably not audio that you'd want to use on an audio only format like a podcast, but it's audio that's good enough for most watchers. Another way of looking at it is that it's audio that people won't notice is bad, you know, which I think is good enough. If you simply just don't notice the audio and you just listen to the video, then that's fine. People aren't going to listen to audio files, that aren't going to listen to it and go, wow, this is amazing. But people will listen to it and go, this doesn't sound very professional. So I'm going to show you what you need to buy, how you can set it up, how you can record and edit it, and then, you know, obviously finally publishing it. But there's a few things you're going to have to accept first, and I've been through all this process myself over several weeks, doing hundreds of hours of research on YouTube and across the internet. And the kind of things that you've got to accept is this is going to cost you some money. You can't do it for free. It's not going to cost you that much. You're probably looking at about £100 in Britain, or probably about $130 in America. So it's much less than the price of a new lens or a new flash. And if you do lots of YouTube videos, then this is really going to pay for itself in the long term. We've also got to accept that in order to get better audio, we've got to get the microphone closer to us. It's no good having something over there on your camera. For example, at the moment, for this particular video, I'm shooting with my EOS 600D and I'm using the 40mm 2.8 Pancake lens, and so the camera is probably 5 feet away from me. And so, as you heard, you know, right at the beginning of the audio, the inbuilt mic is too far away for it to sound good. If you want to get the camera really close to you, then the inbuilt mic can sound okay, but then you have to use a really wide angle lens, and it's not quite a flattering or professional look. So we need to get that mic close to us. So there's no point in buying something like a shotgun mic to sit on top of the camera. Yes, the sound will be better, but you're still going to get all those room sounds, the reflections, all that sort of stuff. And what we need is I think the best thing is a lav mic, a lapel mic, like I'm wearing right now. because once you introduce a lapel mic, we've got this consistent distance between the audio source, my mouth, and the recording. So no matter where we put the camera or what we do with the camera, the audios are going to be the same. So if I flick the camera around to do a product shot, where I'm explaining how to use, I don't know, a camera or a phone or something like that, the audio is still going to sound exactly the same. If we're doing a piece of the camera outside where the camera's a long way away maybe, or very, very close, the audio is always going to be the same. We've also got to accept the fact that we need an external recorder. The line in on our DSLRs, which we could plug our mics into, just isn't good enough. It's too noisy. You have things like automatic gain control. Now, I know you can download programs like Magic Lantern to sort it out, but you'll see in a minute why it's good to use an external recorder as well. Obviously, if we've got a wire going to the camera, there's going to be wires everywhere. And if you're putting the camera a fair way away, then that isn't very convenient. The other thing, though, the really important thing why we use an external recorder for audio is that when we're working by ourselves like this, it's very difficult for us to monitor the quality and monitor the audio that's actually being recorded. I can monitor the video easy because I've got my flip out screen and my 600D, and just to the camera left there's the little screen and I can see the little red light that tells me that it's recording fine, but I don't know anything about the audio. By using an external recorder, I've automatically got one redundant backup, and that one redundant backup is the audio that's been recorded in the camera. So if everything goes wrong, I've still got that audio in the camera that I can fall back on. Because as I said, because if we're working by ourselves, one of the things you could do is you could put some headphones on and you could listen to the audio recording with your external recorder, but who wants to record videos with headphones on, especially if you're outside and out and about. And so I think it's important to use an external recorder, because then that gives us two forms of audio, our normal one and our backup. Also, it means that when you've got an external recorder, a portable one, you can record on location. You could argue that you could use your laptop. I've got my laptop here, which I use to read my notes. You could use that for to go into to record that. But again, if you're out on location doing stuff, do you really want your laptop there? With an external audio recorder, you can move around very quickly, and if you're recording somebody else as well, it's incredibly simple to set one up and get it working. So we're going to have to get an external recorder. Finally, we're going to have to accept that if we want to improve the audio, we're going to have to do some post-processing on the audio, just like we do the post-processing on a photo, or we do some editing on a video. We've got to do the same with the audio. We're going to have to get rid of noise, and we're going to have to improve the levels, probably do a little bit of compression, but don't worry, it's very simple. And we're going to have to sync up the audio we're going to be recording with our mic and our external recorder to the video, which obviously is separately, but don't worry, it's all pretty simple, and the tools we need to do it on Windows anyway, I'm not a Mac person, I don't know, they're all free. So we're going to be using Audacity to edit the audio and remove the noise, and we're going to be using something called the Levelator, which we're going to be using to kind of sort out all the levels and do the compression, do some magic stuff to make the sound better. And then in order to sync the video and the audio, you may well have a paid-for program like Premiere Elements or Premiere Pro or something like that. But for the sake of this video, we're going to use a free piece of software, which is actually a lot more powerful than lots of people think, which is Windows Movie Maker 2012 edition, with which we can do all this stuff. So let's see what we need to get. Okay, so what do we need hardware-wise? Well, the first thing is this little baby here. This is the Zoom H1 handy recorder. A fantastic piece of kit that is incredible value for money. Lots of people use it. You've probably seen reviews already if you've been searching for this. This is the, see if I can just slowly pull this out without pulling the wire out. Here we go. This is the one I'm using to help me record the audio at the moment. Basically, this small gum-sized piece of equipment is what we record the sounds on. Think of it as just a little kind of, it's almost like a little SD card holder, which records either from the built-in microphones, which are very good actually, and I'll do future videos about how you can use that to record stuff. Or it can take a line in, like you can see at the moment, and we can actually have a line out so we can record stuff. So all this really is, like those little electronic dictaphones you can get to record notes. Exactly, just think of this as a very, very high quality version of that. I mean, and at the moment on amazon.co.uk, you can pick one of these up for £69, or if you get the one I got, which is for £79, it comes with the accessory kit. And on amazon.com, it's $99.99 US dollars. So it's a bit of a bargain. It does its job very well. It's very simple. You can spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on audio recording devices, but remember, this is all about doing audio that's good enough that people just don't notice is bad. And this baby does it. It has a little display on the front where you can monitor your levels, because one of the important things is having manual levels, but you can adjust all that. It can record in WAV or MP3. It's got a low cut filter on it. It's got a little tripod mount as well, which comes in handy for different things. And so kind of that's the core. With this beast, we can do lots of different things. We can record using a lav mic like I'm doing at the moment, or we can use it as a standalone recorder. So in future videos you watch on the YouTube stream, I'll be showing you how to record. You do lots and lots of different things with it. It's a very versatile piece of kit. Now the second thing you need to buy is the Audio-Technica ATR-3350 Lav mic or lapel microphone. Is this thing here that's attached to me, and there's a wire that's running down my shirt and then into the Zoom H1. This is probably one of the cheapest lav mics you can pick up. Looking at what we got, amazon.co.uk, £26. Amazon.com in America, $18.25. Now, as I said, this isn't the best quality lav mic you can get, but it does the job. And pick it up. So really, for less than £100, that's what we're spending in the UK, or about £100 in the UK, and about $120 in America. You can have this set up. It's very effective, and it will see you through a long time. Now, after you've ordered it and you get it, the settings are very, very simple as well. Basically, with the lapel mic, all you do is you just kind of put the battery in it and turn it on. That's all there is. And then all you do is you plug it into the Zoom H1. You turn the Zoom H1 on, you turn the low cut to on, and that just gets rid of any room noise like hums and stuff like that. Turn auto levels off, there's a little switch on the back. Use WAV as your recording format, because uncompressed audio doesn't take up much space at all. Then all you do, there's different views on this, but the one I use is you record at 44 kilohertz at 16 bits. I believe that's CD quality, which is more than good enough. And then all you do when you want to start recording, you just press the record button, and it's fantastic. And the way you do it, the way I do it anyway, it's very, very simple. I set all my camera gear up, set everything up, and I start the video recording, and then I start my Zoom recording. Just press the record button, and then I wait. I'm quiet for probably about 10 seconds. Because that 10 seconds, you're going to use it later on when you go into Audacity as your kind of room noise. And that'll be like the fan in my laptop and stuff like that. And that we use that sort of 10-second quiet period to set that in our noise removal process, which then gets rid of that. And so we need that small thing. You record your video, as we're doing now. And then when you get to the end, stop the audio, stop the video. And then we go on, and then we edit it. So it's very, very cheap, very, very simple. You can imagine you can use this kind of setup really as a wireless mic system, because it is so small. You can clip obviously the lav mic onto yourself or somebody else, and then you could just put this into somebody's pocket or your own pocket, and then you can wander around, and there's no physical link between yourself and the camera. There's no worrying about interference using a wireless mic. Obviously you could get other forms of RF interference, but it's very, very simple and works very, very well, and lots of people use it this way. And again, the other beauty is, if in the future you think, I want to get better audio quality, just bin the 3350 or use it as a backup lapel mic, and then get more expensive lapel mic or different types of mic systems. We could also use this with a shotgun mic as well. So we could put a shotgun mic on the camera, go into this instead of into the camera, so we've still got a backup audio, mount this on the side using a bracket, or we could have a shotgun mic here, so we could pick up stuff that way. But remember, for the process of this video, we're going a cheap system, and so the Zoom H1 with the 3350 will work incredibly well. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to do a screencast, and then we're going to look at how you physically take the audio into Audacity and use the Levelator as well to kind of clean it up and edit it. And then we're going to take it into Movie Maker so you can actually see how you sync it up, which lots of people kind of worry about. I think, oh, it's going to be difficult to sync it up, but it's not. It's incredibly easy. Okay, so let's actually look at the software side of things. And the two free programs we're going to use to work on our audio are Audacity, and you can get to them at audacity.sourceforge.net, or just do a quick Google search for Audacity. Don't go to the sponsored links, go to the normal one, and you'll see it all there. And the other piece of software we want is the Levelator 2. Again, just do a Google search for the Levelator, and it should take you to the Conversations network. We can download and install this piece of software. Actually, and the other piece of software we need while we're here, Windows Movie Maker 2012. There we go. Here it is. So Windows Movie Maker, it's free. It is very powerful, even though on the surface of it, it isn't. And so once you've both got that software downloaded and installed, if we just look at here, this is I did a review about a Bluetooth keyboard not that long ago. And so what I've done is I've got the original video files here, and I've also got one of the original audio files, which is this WAV file here. This has been copied from the Zoom H1 handy recorder. And so all I do now is I bring up the Levelator, and all you've got to do is take your audio file and drop it in, and the Levelator will do its magic. It works on improving the volume. It looks at the audio file as a whole and then dumps out a file which seems to have better audio than when you try and do it manually. Now, there is a bit of debate about which order you should do this in. Should you reduce the noise first, or should you do your Levelator first? I do it this way. I could do it the other way, but it doesn't really matter. So there we go. We've got our Zoom 3 output file, which is just there. So let me close down that. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to simply open this file up in Audacity. Here we go. And here it comes. Now, I'm not sure whether you'll be able to hear this. In fact, when I play it, let me just play it. I see.
It's a pretty fantastic device, actually.
Yeah, you might not be able to hear that. I'm not sure whether you can or not, whether it's recording it with the screencast, or you'll be able to hear it on my lapel mic. But what you can see here is, if we zoom in a little bit, this is the waveform of the recording. As you can see, although the Zoom H1 handy recorder is capable of recording audio and it has 2 mics on the front, the 3350 is a mono mic, and so both of these will be exactly the same. So at the beginning we can see the kind of quiet bit, and then you can see where I start talking. So the first thing to do is let's get rid of that noise. So all you do is you take your selection tool, you select a big chunk of the quiet bit, and then you go into your effect, and you go down to noise removal, and it gives you step 1 and step 2. Step 1 is select a few seconds of just noise so Audacity knows what to filter out, then click get noise profile. So we've done that, get noise profile, and then all we do, go edit, select all, and then we just go back to effect, noise removal, and I'm no expert. All I do is I put all the sliders in the middle and it's remove noise, say OK. And then Audacity will now go through the whole file and remove the noise. Now, it doesn't do a perfect job because the 3350 Lav mic is quite quiet. And so in order to boost the levels, you're boosting a lot of the noise. What Audacity does do is it gets rid of all the noise in the quiet bits. But there will be noise in the background of what you're talking. Now, for YouTube, you don't really notice this. Maybe you can notice it now in the audio that I'm using here. You will notice if you use this method for recording podcasts, because when people are listening a lot closer, they'll notice it. But I think it's fine. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to see where the start of where I'm talking is.
Hi, I'm Rob from Rob.
So it's right there. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to chop off all that, because when it comes to using Movie Maker and inserting the audio into the file, we always want the audio to be shorter than the video. Okay, and then at the end, let's just see what we've got. There we go, and I'll chop the end off like that. And so there we go, that's my audio file that's ready to go into Windows Movie Maker. So all we're going to do now is we're going to export that as a WAV. So we just go File, Export, and we're going to call it Zoom 3 Ready, so we know what it is. Save that as a WAV. Probably take it a couple of seconds. There we go. I'm going to shut down Audacity. So there's my Zoom 3 ready. So now we're ready to go in and do the business in Movie Maker. So we're just going to open with Movie Maker. The first thing this will do, and this might take a couple of seconds, is this is video that's been recorded using my 600D. So it's 1080p, it's very, very high quality, and the first thing that Movie Maker has to do is prepare it. But because it's already seeing this file, it looks like it's pretty much ready straight away. It is, but what you might well find with Movie Maker is it could take a few seconds. Now, in this video, I'm not going to go into loads of detail about how you can use Movie Maker. We're just looking at the audio, really. But the first step, really, is just to find the beginning of where I start talking. Let's have a look. Now, what I'm doing there is, one of the things you can do to sync the audio is you can put claps in and things like that. But I'm going to show you a way we don't have to worry about doing things like that. So, right, so there's the beginning of the audio. Let's go back, just put into there. So I'm going to bin everything else. So I'm just going to go Edit, I'm going to split the video, select that, delete that. So hopefully straight away I start talking. Now what we want to do now, we don't want to import that audio yet. What we want to do now is we want to add a title. We don't even have to put anything on the title, but we want to put it in because that gives us a little bit of room right at the beginning, so that if our audio spills over the front, we can slide it backwards and forwards. Remember how I said we should always keep our audio file shorter than the video? Well, by adding bumpers, by having a title, and by having a credits at the end, that gives us that little bit of wiggle room. So I don't know, this is just a test, so it's just a test video. Okay, I can just go there. And then when we play it now, obviously we've got our title to go in, and then I'm going to start talking pretty quick. So let's just make sure that that goes in okay. There's me. So let's import the audio now. So all we need to do now is see, well, before we go any further, let me just tell you a little bit about Movie Maker. Movie Maker, you can have 3 different audio tracks, which is quite powerful, I think. You can have the audio track, which you can see here, which is the one recording with the video. And we can also, add music, which is another track, and we can add narration. Let's add our audio. So add sound. Let's find the folder that it's in. To keyboard. Here it is, Zoom 3 ready. Let's open that up. Dunk. Right, now here it is. This will be our audio here. Make sure you've gone into view and you're looking at the waveforms. See how we can see the waveforms here? Now, this is where we're going to sync up this audio. Now, you could do it just by pressing play and seeing that it doesn't, and listen to it visually, but we can do it, listening to, audio-wise, but the best way, I think, is you zoom in quite a long way. Let's zoom in even more. What you can actually see down here is the peaks and troughs of the volumes. So all we do now is we can do this, and what we want to do is we want to move this audio so that that peak there starts when that one does. Movie Maker doesn't make it that easy though, because when you select something, that's the beginning there. So we know we want to move it back probably about there. Okay, so we're close to it. Move it back a bit further. Move back a bit further. That's probably slightly too much. That could be there. Now, what we need to do now is we then select the video, and then we go to Edit, and we look at the video volume, We turn the video volume down all the way. Oops. And let's just select, then we're going to select the narration or our audio, and we just turn that up a little bit. And all we're going to do now is we're going to use the main preview screen on the left just to see if it has synced up properly.
Hi, I'm Rob from RobNoPhoto.com, and in this
Did that look good? If you're not quite sure, go full screen.
evening's video, we're going to be looking at a pretty fantastic device actually that I was sent the other day.
And I think,
kind people at Who
let's just pause that. I think that's pretty much spot on. So you see, by just matching up the waveforms, it's incredibly easy. And you know, by all means, go near to the end of your video as well, just to check that it's still kind of synced up.
a content production device too. Okay, so let's.
That looks pretty good to me. Now remember, with some recording devices, you may well get a situation where over time the audio sync does go out of sync. Just something that happens. It's problems with the way that budget video gear and audio gear works. Now I haven't come across this problem with the Zoom H1 with the 600D, but you may well get this if you're recording with webcams and different types of software. I think GoPros sometimes have a little bit of trouble as well. In that case, remember what you can always do, you can always go in to your audio, click on the narration tools ribbon at the top, and you can split it. So you could say we've got near the end of the video, I don't know, say there, and suddenly, you know, the audio was getting particularly out of whack, out of sync. What you could do is you could then split it there like that, and then you could then move it to put it back into sync. How powerful is that? It's incredibly powerful. People don't use Windows Movie Maker and they spend all this money on Adobe Premiere Elements or Adobe Premiere Pro and all this sort of stuff, where for most things, honestly, Windows Movie Maker is really, really good. I don't think you can do multiple video timelines. That's its biggest weakness. So you can't like flick back between different videos. But the fact that you can have 3 different audio tracks, I think is amazing. So for example, with this one, what I could also do now is, let's just reset the zoom level and go back up to the top. What I would do now is, if I was doing a video, I would now say add a introduction music. So we go to home, add music. I think it's in here. Here it is. There's my video intro file. I open that. And see, there we go. There's all 3. So there's the audio with the video. There's my intro music. And we can do things like, when you get into movie making, so you can fade this stuff in and out, and obviously play with the volumes. Now when you put your clip together and all your audio is then synced up, actually one word of warning. If you're going to add any transitions like fades and blurs, put all those in first between your video clips and then add your audio afterwards. If you don't, the act of adding the transition will put your audio out of sync. So kind of put all the video together and with all your credits, with all your titles, with all your different animations, and then add your audio. And then when you're done, you just go File, Save Movie, recommended for this project, which tends to be the highest one, so 1920 by 1080p, 24 megabits per second. So there we go. That's how easy it is to sync up using Windows Movie Maker. All you need to remember to do is go into View, make sure you're looking at the waveforms, zoom in a long way, and then just move the audio file so the peaks of the waveforms match up. It's that easy. Okay, so let's stop this little screencast portion of the video and we'll kind of tie everything up. Okay, so hopefully I've shown you how easy it is to record your audio externally from your camera using the Zoom. Knocking it out. Using the Zoom H1 handy recorder, using the Audio-Technica 3350 Lav or Lapel mic, and then using free tools, using the Levelator, using Audacity, and using Windows Movie Maker to bring it all together, to sync it all up. Really, we've only kind of scratched the surface of what we'd be able to do with this sort of kit. But I tell you what, let's just quickly go back to the in-camera audio now, just so that you can kind of hopefully see the improvement, or the step backwards if we go back to doing that. Because as I said at the beginning, what we're trying to create here is audio that's just good enough, that people just don't notice as being bad. We're not going after broadcast quality or anything like that. But this is what we would have had if we carried on using our in-camera audio, or now. And if we go back over to the lav mic with the recorded into the Zoom H1, hopefully you think, you know, this sounds better. It sounds a little bit more professional. It's not as boomy, not as echoey, and all that sort of stuff. Because, you know, with this sort of setup, we could go out on location. We could be, you know, just the camera, the mic. We could set the camera up a long way away, you know, start recording, run over somewhere else, and as long as we got the focus right, you know, we could then do a piece to camera. As I said, it's really important that we've got this kind of device when we're working close, doing YouTube headshot videos like this, that we've got a device that gives us a built-in audio backup as well, in the fact that the backup is really the camera audio, and the Zoom H1 is our main recording source. So hopefully in this video I've kind of encouraged you to stop searching through YouTube, because you can spend hours and hours, days and days trying to find the perfect solution. Because I know myself, I was pretty much obsessed with having an in-camera solution. You know, I was all ready to pull the trigger on I was either going to just buy a cheap shotgun mic for the top of the camera, or I was going to buy, I was going to spring for something like the Rode VideoMic Pro, which has a preamp in it, which is meant to give you better audio quality. But it was only really when I started listening to the videos where people were using lapel mics and things like the Zoom H1 that you kind of see, well, that's the sound that I want to go for. And I realized that by using this kind of setup, you just have such consistency in sound where it doesn't change constantly, that I really liked it. Now, I'm not saying I might not buy something like the shotgun mic in the future, but now I understand the fact that in order to get good audio, the microphone's got to be close to where you are. You know, in this sort of situation, I would probably set up the shotgun mic here, you know, on a stand so it's pointing at me, to get better audio that way. But, you know, I really like the lapel mic setup. So there we go. My recommendation to you is get on to Amazon or your local camera shop now, get a Zoom H1, get an Audio-Technica 3350, download Windows Movie Maker, download Audacity, download Levelator, and once you get into the swing of it, it doesn't add that much more time to your video producing and your video editing and exporting workflow. Right, that's it from me. My name's Rob from robnunphoto.com. Remember, you can email me scalespeeder@gmail.com. If you really like the video, please subscribe. There's lots more stuff like this on the YouTube stream, and there'll be lots more reviews of the 3350 and the ways that you can use the Zoom H1 for doing lots of different types of audio coming up. And obviously there's all the usual gadgets and photography stuff too. And I'd just like to end by saying thanks for watching.